Hi, everyone. I'm Deb Peterson, and I'm with my co-host, Deana Valente, and you're watching and listening to Balance Your Life podcast, Our Evolving Consciousness. And today we have Jefferson Harmon, who is a dream interpreter.
And intuitive.
And we're so excited that you're here.
I'm so glad to be here. It's so good to see you again.
Yeah.
You know, I did the TV show back when.
Oh, yeah.
I've just
been a while.
And I didn't get to see you that day.
Well, that
was season
prep. Yeah, I did not get,
So now we get a chance
ago.
to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But, I actually watched it again last night.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
It was actually really good. It's a nice synopsis of everything.
It is good.
That I had done up until that point.
Okay.
But let's talk about how we met.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to tell everybody how we met because it's so fun.
It's such a fun story.
Yeah, so my son Matt, who's now 25, almost 26,
oh my God.
in a couple weeks.
So that was 10 years ago?
10 years ago was at a group thing with teenagers where you were brought in as the guest speaker.
So it was like a group, not therapy per se. It was more just like a teen group where you got together and talked about, your thoughts as a teenager and all.
Right.
But it was run by a therapist.
Yes.
And a very good friend of mine, Madeline Thomas.
Yes.
Really, really wonderful therapist.
No,
and she had a place in Boonton called Growing with the Seasons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then this gorgeous loft on top of the yoga studio, whatever. And she, had this, she did a men's group, women's group.
Yeah, she did everything.
So she did a teen group, and Matt was in the team.
Yeah.
And she asked me to come in and interpret dreams for them, which was just so much fun. And of the group of maybe, I don't remember, 7 or 8 people. It was small, it was intimate. And the person who was the most gregarious, the most talkative, remembered his dreams the most, had multiple dreams, and remembered them in the most detail, was Matt. At 15 years old, he was able to bring to his game what most of my clients, when they first start with me, struggle with.
Yeah. And he's not a gregarious person in general.
Right.
But he has a lot of dreams and he likes to share those. He always has, Mom, listen to what I had a dream about last night. Yeah. I mean, always he's been like that. And he's quite intuitive, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely. And that, that first day, because I did it a few times, he was just the most responsive.
Oh, he had the best time.
It was kind of like, we're in a small, comfy room sitting on pillows and whatever. But the way it seemed was like we were around a campfire.
Yeah.
And he was just telling stories, and everybody was just kind of like listening and going, "Oh, that is so cool."
And it's funny because, of course, he didn't drive at that point. I had to pick him up.
Right.
I picked him up.
Which is how we met.
Car, and he goes, "Mom, I met a guy that needs to be in your galas." And I'm like, really? And then he handed me your card. He was like all professional. And he's like, you got to call him. It was, and then, and then actually, I know you saw him several times, but I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 years later, somehow, I don't know how he got this. I had natural awakenings, and and then we saw that you were doing an event. So I was like, Matt, Jefferson's doing an event. And he's like, let's go. And we were one of 3 people. And it was great. And so.
Yeah, it was a very small workshop.
Yeah.
It was in a therapist's office.
Right. So, so we've known each other a long time. And, we have had you on the TV show. But, I mean, it's so fascinating, the whole dream thing. I think to everybody it's like kind of,
well, I mean, everybody dreams.
Right. Everybody dreams, but not everybody remembers, right?
Everybody remembers. Exactly.
When you were doing this with the kids, with the group, were you helping the kids interpret their dreams, or were you there to teach them how to remember their dreams?
Depending on what they asked me.
Okay.
So sure. Yeah. Like at any workshop that I have ever done, there's always at least one person in the group that says, I don't remember my dreams, and then we talk. There's also usually at least one person in the group who goes, I never dream.
Okay.
But my friend brought me to this. I didn't know it was coming. And oddly enough, I had a dream last night every time.
Oh, that's
100% of the time.
Well, and these people that say they never dream, I mean, they really
of course they
do dream.
There's only one physical ailment that I've ever researched that is where the brain literally has no activity while you're in your quote unquote dream state. So, and it's extremely rare. Mm-hmm. So everyone dreams. It's just that we don't always remember them. Mm-hmm. And so the question is how to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, tell us.
Okay, so
I mean, ready?
it's a very simple mechanism.
Okay.
It's a survival mechanism. Now I know this simply by intuition, by all the years that I've been doing this,
Right.
by many, many years of working individually with people and with people in groups. Over and over and over again, I have said this for probably 30 years, and it has always held true and always worked. So I know it's not a clinical research study. There's no science behind what I'm saying, or maybe there is, and I just haven't read the study.
Right.
Dyslexics, but the upshot is that it's a survival mechanism. That when you do not remember your dreams, that odds are there is some point in your life up until which you did. And I have spoken with people who say they don't. A, maybe they just don't recall. B, maybe there's an exception, which I think I went into at that time. But basically, if you don't remember why, what's causing that, it's because you're blocking something. Because people say to me, how do I remember my dreams? I'm like, how do you not?
Right.
That's my question.
Right.
How do you not? Because I've had a vivid dream life since I was a toddler.
Yeah. Right.
And I got started doing this when I was 3 because of a nightmare that I had. So
Really?
We talked about that in the end.
Well,
no, I didn't. We didn't actually. We should talk about that.
I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah.
But
when you're done, explain to us. Yeah.
But basically, there's this mechanism that allows you to shut down the memory of your dream state. And it comes from a stress. It comes from an event. So if you're, let's say, how old are you? You're 5, you're 9, you're 13, right?
Sure.
Just get you a couple of years into puberty or whatever. You're just entering high school. You change schools, you move, you change jobs, you go to, you change from high school to college, whatever. Every time one of these milestones happens, you get married. Right? Any of those. It's a major shift in your life.
Right.
And with those, especially at a younger age, those major shifts can be stressful. And so what happens is the stress becomes enough of a wave that you need to allow for, I'm sorry, I'm just explaining this clumsily on air.
No, that's all right.
But so basically,
No, we got it. You have a stressful event.
you have a stressful event, and what happens is your body moves into survival mode, and it says, "I need to be able to survive this day. There's too much information in this day. I'm already stressed out enough. Okay, but you know what? We're not going to have this person remember their dreams. Okay, when they wake up tomorrow, they just won't remember any of that because it's just more detail on top of what they're already dealing with. And so as that happens, the result over time is that, okay, well, the stress doesn't go away today, right? You're moving, so there's the process of that. There's, you're graduating and going to a different school. There's the process of that. These processes take time, and so the dream state literally will, I'll say, calm down for a period of time, and you'll maybe remember fragments here and there, but you don't remember entire dreams. And over time,
If that happens.
you it says to you, okay, and 10 weeks goes by and you say, what'd you dream last night? And then you go, I don't remember my dreams.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So now you've actually made a statement. That statement is a thought. That thought, we know from science, is a physical molecule in your body that is basically made up of hormones, chemistry. It lights up particular parts of your brain based on the quality of the thought, and then it is sent on mission to a specific part of your body. And the mission is to send a message to that part of the body. That's how all thought works. It's how all chemistry in the body moves. It starts as spirit, it starts as energy, it moves into the mind, and then it becomes this. This is the result. So at that moment, spirit is saying, okay, you're too stressed, we're going to calm that down. Oh, wait, you've had the thought, I don't remember my dreams. Okay, well, we'll record that. Then you have it again the next day, because you didn't remember your dreams the next day. Then 10 days goes by, then 10 months goes by. Next thing you know, you've had the thought enough times that it's hardened in your physiology, because that's what thought does.
Sure.
We come in very squishy and pliable. You can take a baby's foot and touch it to its forehead. Try and do that to a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, so then unless they're a yoga expert.
Right.
So the flexibility leaves as we take on our belief systems.
But let's say you don't take on the belief system that you don't remember your dreams. Let's say you're just going through stress And so you're not recalling your dreams regularly, right? So you recall them intermittently, but you don't consciously say, I don't remember my dreams.
Yeah.
Because although I don't remember
I don't know that you ever consciously say it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you don't have to say the words.
No,
It's a
alright.
thought.
No, I'm saying, let's suppose
Let's say you don't have the thought.
Yeah, because
No.
let's say you're stressed, and so you're not recalling your dreams as frequently as you once did, but it never occurs to you to say I don't remember, you don't, to think I don't remember my dreams. Let's just say at the moment stress is blocking them,
Yes.
right? And then you do start to recall them, I guess, when the stress passes.
Easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you can.
Okay.
It depends on what you've done. All right. If you create, so first off, you think on many levels. You have multiple thoughts at the same time. While I'm speaking, I have other thoughts going on in my head. Okay. The camera's over there. There's the logo, whatever. It doesn't matter what the thought is, but I'm not thinking on one level. There are multiple things going on at the same time. So the thought, I don't remember my dreams, can be subconscious. You don't necessarily have that on a conscious level. It's your experience. And so your experience repeats. And it is the repeat of the experience that then causes the
So that's why people get to that place where they say,
So,
I don't really dream.
It's not everyone.
But it's
So,
not.
so
No,
like,
no.
you know, so
Saying
10,
those
20
people-
years goes by and you're sitting in a dream workshop with me and you're going, well, I don't remember my dreams.
Right.
Because the past 20 years, you have it.
Right.
And,
Well, so-
the reason is because of whatever that I call it, like a trigger point or a starting
Absolutely.
point.
Right.
You know, it's like a starting gate. And so once you get that motion going, it becomes its own snowball down the mountain and it builds over time. So how do you reverse it? How do you change it? And this is why I know it works, because I've applied this remedy, again, for as long as I've been doing workshops. You reverse the thought. So we know from, the New Age, from all of what the teachings of Louise Hay and Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer, that affirmations are the way to reprogram your thinking. So if you have the thought, I don't remember my dreams, you replace it with, I do remember my dreams. And then that's not necessarily going to be your experience that first night.
Yeah.
But an affirmation is planting a seed. It's never an instant flower. You have to tend to it. So you keep that thought going over and over again. And over time, your experience will change. And every time that I've done this, people have either come to a follow-up workshop or literally hired me for interpretations.
Yeah.
Because now they're not only remembering their dreams, they're remembering them regularly. They're in color. They get all this detail. They write it down. All of that comes from just the change of their mind, that it's possible to remember their dreams. So anyone out there listening and saying, I don't remember my dreams, understand that that's a choice. It's your body. Who else's dreams are they? Who's going to remember them if you don't?
Right.
It's contained in here. This is the vessel. It's your spirit talking to yourself. It's important to remember your dreams because that's part of your health, your overall health. We have spiritual health, we have mental health, we have physical health. We also have dream health. Okay, so we need to be paying attention because dreams are information. Right. Whether it's information we understand at the onset or not, it's information. And so if we are missing part of the information that we receive in this lifetime, we're missing opportunity, we're missing possibility. We may be finding out that we have a condition we need to get checked out. There's all kinds of
messages.
Signals coming from your intuition 24/7. Intuition is a software that works literally all day long. And it's not a question of when is it on, when is it off. It's a question of when are you paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So your intuition at that moment when you're dreaming is able to see things through a metaphoric, symbolic lens that does not apply during the day, where physical laws apply. At night in your dreams, physical laws don't apply. You can step off a building and survive. You can fly.
I know.
You can go to another planet. So if all of that is possible,
that's fun.
Then how, you can't look at dreams and say, well, this is just etheric or, woo-woo, like I don't need to pay attention to that. Yeah, you do, because contained in all of that information is a conversation about your spirituality, your life, your health, everything. It's all in there in a different lens, through a different lens than the one that you see during the day.
Right, so how do we pay more attention to that and get more into
You become more interactive with it. It's like a muscle. You go to the gym, you lift a weight 10 times, you never go back, you're not going to build any muscle. You have to keep it going. You have to keep the process going. You have to be first off, you have to agree with yourself that, this is important to me.
Okay.
And then once it's important to you, you can say, all right, I'm going to, I'm going to dedicate something in some part of my day to the practice of remembering my dreams, journaling my dreams, interpreting what I think needs to be interpreted. Not all of it does. We talked about that in the show.
Yeah.
Some dreams, it's just defragging the hard drive. I call it dream salad. And then there's also, the ones that ping your intuition. Those are the ones that you want to pay attention to.
Jefferson, do you recommend journaling like when you first wake up? Sometimes you wake up in a dream, and that's usually when I write dreams. Yeah. Do you recommend writing them down?
It depends on the person. I had one client who brought in a legal pad. Every single page on the pad was written on.
Wow.
She remembered her dream, like ridiculous, like 3 pages for each dream. Okay, so that's Tuesday. Here, let's go to this one. It was incredible.
Wow.
And so much detail. All of it so precise and written down. That's a lot to remember for most people. So what I recommend is instead of that, get a little digital recorder.
Where is it?
You can use your phone.
On my phone.
You can use your phone, but your phone can be interrupted. Someone can call in. Get a little portable digital recorder. Put it by your bed. The only thing you need to do is power on, record. That's it. Those are the only two things you want to do. And the reason is because when you're dreaming and then you're waking up, you're leaving one state of consciousness into another. So imagine ocean waves. There's one ocean wave that is coming in to the beach, and there's another one that is receding off the beach.
Right.
Okay. So your dream state comes in, your consciousness goes out to sea. Your dream state goes back out to sea as your consciousness goes back into the beach. So as you're waking up, they're passing over each other. In that moment where they're over each other, that's where you wake up and you go, oh, wow, I remember that dream so vividly.
Yeah.
And then 20 seconds later, it's all gone.
Yeah.
If that. And you're like, wait, no, I had all of it.
Right. It's so true.
So how do you capture that moment?
Right.
The answer is don't get into physical consciousness. Put it off as long as possible.
Okay.
So if you grab a pen and you grab a pad and you start writing, okay, the pen is physical, the pad is physical.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now you're concentrating on pressing the pen to the paper. That's physical. You pulled yourself out of the dream consciousness, and next thing you know, you can't remember. Just something as simple as that distracts you enough that you're out of your dream consciousness.
Well,
so if you hit the recorder and you just
so many questions.
And
I know there's so many questions.
It doesn't matter. Just
that sounds
I dreamt of a bus stop and a lady in an orange raincoat and there's a duck. It doesn't matter what the detail is. It just matters that every little thing you can remember, you write it, you say it to the recorder. Later in the day or the next day, transcribe it, and you will find that the dream will come flooding back.
Now, the dreams that we do wake up remembering, are those the most recent dreams we had in our sleep? Could there be,
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Well, first off, who sleeps through the night? And please ask them how.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
But if you, I'm sorry, ask the question again.
The dream that when you awaken and you remember, is that a dream that...
It's more likely that you're going to remember that dream because you've just woken up.
Yeah.
But you can also wake up intermittently and recall dreams. Right. And again, that's why you want the recorder by your bedside. Sure. You want to be able to do that at any time. And you want it accessible. You want it so it's just very simple. If you have an old cassette recorder, just hit play record. You're done. You want it that simple.
What about the dreams where, do you have those dreams where you remember everything and you can remember them for years?
Oh, yes.
I was going to ask the same thing.
Yeah.
There's some dreams that I remember from years ago.
And maybe you don't even want to remember them, some of them. And
those are the most important dreams to interpret.
Okay.
That's where your intuition is like, this is the one. You have to look at this more carefully. I'm having... So, one of the ways that I started with this was that I realized it's a conversation. Mm-hmm. So who's it with?
Yourself.
Okay, your higher self, maybe.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
God, the universe. Doesn't matter what you call it. You can call it threat.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. But if you are having a conversation, then you have to participate in the conversation. So when you asked me earlier about, how do you develop this? That's how you develop this. You first acknowledge the conversation, and then you continue it. Like we're looking eye to eye right now.
Right.
Or if we were at a diner and a waitress came over, we'd stop the conversation. I'd turn. I would just give my order, and I'd come back to you, and you'd wait. You wouldn't continue talking while I'm talking to the waitress. So the universe waits for us to show up. It waits for us to agree to the conversation. And then once we've done that, then it's like, okay, here's one. Let's see if you can handle this. And then over time, they get progressively more intense, more detail, more technicolor, more sense around. Next thing you know, you've got this dream that you can't let go of.
Yeah, right.
That's when you come to me and we look at all the
these things. Okay, right.
The more you can remember, the more it can interpret.
There are some books out there sometimes that they'll say this, if you see a coffee cup in a dream, it means this. And is there truth to that? Are there some things that
I don't dismiss those books, but I would say this: symbols are not static.
Okay, that's I wanted to know.
They evolve.
Yeah.
Okay, there are symbols that exist today that didn't exist 10 years ago.
True.
Okay, influencer as an archetype.
Right.
Okay, content creator never existed.
Right.
Okay, so there are things about, archetypes, symbols, metaphors that evolve as we evolve as a society. Things that meant something in the 1500s don't mean the same thing they do now.
What about in a lifetime? What about if something was symbolic to me in one way 20 years ago and it's now symbolic to me in another way?
So that means you've grown, you've evolved.
Okay.
And now the symbol itself has grown with you. And this is, again, why if you look it up in a book and it says, a cat means this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have your little paragraph of what it means. And then you go, okay, then my dream meant this. Now you've stopped the conversation.
Right.
You've allowed somebody you've never met who published a book
Right.
where the symbol basically became a static phrase on a page to dictate what your symbol means for you in this lifetime, at this age, not the last time you dreamt about a cat, because this is a different circumstance in this dream. You see, all of these combinations of factors are part of this. The conversation includes nuance, it includes context, it includes where are you in your life now? What's going on right now in your life when you have the dream? Or if it's a recurring dream, what was going on back then?
Right. So,
when you first
about it. Yeah.
Again, there's an origin.
Yeah.
The origin point is always important because when you first have the dream, let's say you come to me, you say, I've had this dream for 5 years and I can't get rid of it. I haven't had it again, but I've had it for 5 years, this memory.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's talk about it. Well, first we'd start it 5 years ago. What triggered it? If you're not first going back to the origin point, you can't discover what the dream means now.
Now, what if you don't remember the origin point?
Well, you will.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Again, if you don't, it's a stress.
Okay.
You block things out for a reason. People do things for reasons.
Right.
Okay, subconsciously as well as consciously.
Yeah.
And so if you aren't remembering something, it's because there's somewhere in there, whether it's a choice or a survival mechanism or whatever, you are allowing a system in your consciousness to take over and kind of take charge momentarily to shut things down for you.
How fascinating of a life and you have, because you get to really delve into someone's consciousness or subconsciousness and probably hear things that we don't talk about in the waking life day to day. And that's really cool.
I was on the radio for 10 years and the host always kept talking about this one listener that called in. And I would interpret the dreams live on the air.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I didn't even know if they were giving me their real name.
Oh, okay.
And he always brought this one dream up. He's like, remember the guy who called in and his head was on fire? I know. It's
that's pretty obvious.
What he said, he woke up the next day.
Right, of course.
He wasn't burned. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. But, right, your head's on fire.
Your head's on
things
fire.
Are on fire.
There's a lot of that going around right now.
And I remember, yes, absolutely. And I remember when you were on the TV show, I had a reoccur. Well, I want to talk about the reoccurring dreams.
Yes.
I told you the one that I have. I don't. With this, when I'm driving and I can't stop. Of course, it's kind of classic. And you're like, and the brakes don't work, and all that. And I mean, that's pretty. And then you said, "Well, I know you."
Well, I know.
So I know.
I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and I'm just like I'm rolling my eyes, just going, "Deb, you're just describing your day."
I know, but I thought the part that was always cool, and I still have it. Gee, no surprise. And is that I always get lifted out of the car by these enormous angels. And I think that's the fun part of my dream. Oh, every time.
Yes.
I had recurring dreams from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And the dream would end, and then when I would have the dream, sometimes 6 months later, sometimes a year later, sometimes many years later, it would start again, and then it would go past that.
Yes.
And
I was going to ask you about that.
It evolved with you.
Yeah,
Right.
I had a dream for years. I'll tell you if you want me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Why not?
So I always had this dream that I was being chased, and no matter what happened, I was fine. But I was being chased through a city, and I would wind up in the next dream when it would happen again. I would recognize where I was, and I would hide in the walls. I would hide in between the walls and get away from whatever this craziness that was going on. And I knew exactly where to go.
I can interpret that.
Years later, I found myself with somebody else in the dream. I said, "Don't worry, come with me." And we went into this building, and I said, "I know where we can go." And we went into the walls of the building, and I just knew how to get there. It was many, many years later, but it was just the same place in the dream.
Huh.
When you say it went into the walls in the building, you mean like behind the wall?
Yeah, it was just kind of like a crawl space in the wall.
Oh, good God. I have to tell you. Oh, my God. This is just blowing my mind. The dream that started all of what I do
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
was me being chased in a house that I didn't live in, that I'd never seen before. There was a monster that was chasing me. I was 3 when I had this dream. Okay. And the monster was chasing me around the house. The dream took place in black and white, and it had this yellowish overtone, like almost like sepia, but it was gross.
Huh.
It had this gross
yeah.
yellowish overtone, and like a sickly yellow, not like a lemon.
Yeah.
Pretty yellow.
Right. No, I can
Like just
totally picture it. Yeah.
And this monster is chasing me around, and I'm doing everything that I can to get away from it. And I'm old enough that I can run, right, in the dream. And I'm also old enough that I can hide. So I hide. So it's like in the corner, there is this cupboard. It's like a triangular cupboard, which is kind of an old-fashioned, construct in a house. And it had cabinets on top, and then shuttered cabinets on the bottom. So you could open them up and close them, but you could also see through them.
Right. Okay.
I opened up that, I got in, and I closed it, and I'm now looking out into the room where the monster is walking.
Wait, the way.
And I'm looking through the slats, and it pacing, whatever, and it goes off to the side, and then it's gone. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And I breathe a sigh of relief, and suddenly the doors fling open, and it reaches in to grab me, and I wake up.
Oh.
The dream started with a house. So you know how sometimes dreams are like movies. You can see the movie as if you're watching the screen.
Yes.
And then you go into the building, and now suddenly you're seeing it through your own eyes.
Yeah.
So I was able to see both. I was able to see it through my own eyes and simultaneously watch it happening at the same time. The house in the dream, we're driving the next day when my parents' station.
Oh, no.
I'm in the back of the station wagon, and I look out the window, and there it is.
Get out.
That's how all this started. All of this started from that. I was terrified.
Sure.
Because I thought, okay, first off, that means the monster exists. It lives nearby.
Wow.
I'm not thinking like a logical adult. I'm thinking like a clear.
Yeah.
I told my mother, she's like, oh, it's a nightmare. It's okay. It's just a dream. I'm like, are you out of your mind? And of course, I couldn't articulate that. So it stayed with me. The dream just never left. I understood many, many years later as I was, more experienced in articulating this, that what happened was I was witnessing someone else suffering abuse in that house. Oh. And that I picked up their signal like a radio.
Yeah, I total chills right now.
I get them too every time I talk about it. I get, I know that whoever, there was a child in that house who was being beaten, who was being physically abused, perhaps sexually abused, and that they were terrified of this person.
Who was the monster?
It was the monster. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
Trust me, you want to get a 3-year-old's attention, that will do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I just constantly was like, oh my God, what am I going to dream next? And then I would start to see correlations between my dreams and my waking state. And then I would say, well, that's interesting. So I was able to get, I never forgot the nightmare. I still remember images of it to this day. I remember the house. I remember the cupboard. I remember the monster. And, just all of it. So much detail. I was 3 years old. That's pretty remarkable. And that is my most vivid 3-year-old.
Yes.
And anyway, so I would, over time, realize, like, what's going on here? There's something going on here. I couldn't articulate it. And I'd say it to someone else and they'd look at me like I was crazy. So I just shut up about it. And then it just developed over time, just from experience.
When did you start doing it professionally?
What happened was I was doing it for friends.
Okay.
You know, someone would say, oh, I had this weird dream last night.
Yeah.
They would tell me their dream. And then I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, do you want me to tell you what I think? Yeah, sure. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, oh my God. So then they would tell someone else, and that person would want me to interpret.
Right. And the word
It's the shampoo commercial.
Yes. Tell a friend.
So on and so on. And then and then I started doing it for, you know, strangers. And then I started doing it professionally.
Yeah, that's great.
Really sit down and do sessions. Then I was approached by the host of the radio show. And through an entirely unrelated topic, I ran into him at a trade show, I'll say.
Okay.
And he handed me his business card, so I handed him mine, you know, which had dream interpretation over as well. He had this radio show called Life Unedited, where he talked about his journey back from bipolar disorder.
Oh, wow.
And had all these great guests on, therapists. He had Dan Rather on.
Oh, my gosh.
Just incredible guests.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I would come on the show, and I did. And he called me just before the show. This was so like him. He would like call me right before and just go, do you want to interpret some dreams on the air? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? I've never done it before, but let's try it.
Right.
I ended up doing it for the sportscaster. These two news people who called in. One was in a newspaper. One was in, I think, some other form of news media. And I interpreted all three of their dreams. Well, the dream about the sportscaster, basically the interpretation was you're going to be moving on from this job to something else.
Okay.
The station manager literally called him the next day and said, do I have anything to be worried about?
Oh.
He now works for ESPN.
Oh, okay, cool.
So anyway, it's
great,
just that, you know, the next,
Here you go.
the host was like, okay, this was great. Let's do it again.
Right.
10 years later, COVID happened, and that's when it stopped.
Right. So should you, do you want to interpret a dream?
Why not? Let's do it.
You want to do one?
Well, I have another one that went on Pierce, but is there anyone here who has a dream they want to talk about?
Anybody have a burning question in our...
You do? Okay, so
Anthony.
So that's our cameraman.
Yes.
Yes.
Mine was like a sleep paralysis dream.
Okay. Okay.
You knew what to do.
It depends. I mean, it's not specialty, but tell me.
Okay, so let me find it real quick.
See, he
Oh,
has
you
it in his
saved
phone.
it. Okay.
Gotta love it.
Okay, so I was in my office and I was sleeping on a couch.
Okay.
And so the dream was I was in a car and a woman came with 3 dogs and she said she wanted me to save them. And this was just like a normal dream, like at this point. And one was blind and it couldn't walk right. And that's like the only dog that I remembered what it looked like. And then it was after that, it was the same dream, but then I was in a dark forest and I was about to lucid dream, but then I got too excited. So I woke up, but then I tried to like put myself back into the dream and that put me into sleep paralysis.
Oh, interesting.
And then there was like really loud music, like building up, like climactic. And
In the dream, or?
yeah, like
Okay.
I heard it like,
Okay.
I think
So did you get back into the dream?
yeah, but I was like halfway in and out of like sleep paralysis and in the dream while this music was playing.
Halfway in and out of sleep paralysis. And
Yeah, that's just...
so, okay, so first off, you were in that state in between the two where you kind of fall back and forth.
Yeah, I was like, at one point my eyes were open and it was like, it felt like I was like hallucinating back into the dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't move my body at all.
Yeah, and this is where I you know, I'm not a scientist. I'm a reasoner. I basically, you give me information and I read it. I read my intuition on it. I read, you know, your energy, that kind of thing. So I don't know the scientific basis behind sleep paralysis or the, you know, I believe when you're asleep, that your body is essentially held in place while you were dreaming because of the fact that, you know, you could fall out of bed or whatever, and that could be completely wrong.
That does make sense, yeah.
It does. It makes sense. So
okay, cool.
Say again?
I researched it like after I had that dream.
And what happened? What did you find?
It said the same thing, like
Oh, good. So
you not
So you were right. Good.
credibility. Yeah.
there's like a thing in your brain that shuts off your body, so that if you're having a
Yes.
dream of like you running around or something,
You don't run out. You're exactly right. You don't like try to run while you're in bed or whatever. Which is I've always found interesting because I had a psychiatric husky once who, whenever she trapped Deana, she was running in the dream because you.
Oh yeah, I've seen the dogs do that.
But it was just the thought.
So cute, so
You know.
cute when they do that.
But anyway, so the fact that you were going between the two, the sleep paralysis was partly from the fact that you were waking and dreaming at the same time. So the dream part was actually keeping you in place. The fear that you were feeling about the dream paralysis was the lack of control at that moment. The lack of control was also part of the dream because you're going through this dark forest. What happened in the forest?
Yes, so right, like when that music was building up, at the end of the music, it just like all stopped suddenly, and then I heard a voice saying, "I'm real."
Ooh.
So that's it. And then, and then after that, after "I'm real," I saw, like I heard everyone sees this too in a sleep paralysis. They see like a tall black figure, which I saw that.
Okay. Wow, this is getting into really.
I know. Like this is not some light dream.
This is more like you need to come to me and let's do a session. There's a lot of person. You got multiple dreams going on because you started in your office, you started on the couch. The lady with the 3 dogs and one is blood. There's a lot of info. We could just do that segment for the next 20 minutes.
That was like the lady with the dogs was in. That was like before all this happened, but in the same like setting. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, not the exact same setting because you went from your office to a dark.
No, he was.
I fell asleep in my office.
Oh, you fell asleep in your office.
Yes.
I misunderstood that.
So
I thought you were dreaming that you were in your office.
No, I think
So what was going on in your office? This should be interesting.
there was my partner Matt was also sleeping in like another room,
Okay.
and
So you just fell asleep.
yeah.
Okay.
But what was weird is that after all this happened, while I was still in sleep paralysis,
Yeah.
I thought I saw like my office chair was like to the right of me, but it was in my peripheral vision.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw Matt sitting in the chair.
So that I was actually going to say, did Matt like walk in because you're talking about a dark figure or something, but then you thought you saw him. So you're kind of superimposing the presence of somebody at the end of this dream with the dark figure. But there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
That's a lot to it.
Yeah.
That's not a simple dream to just put into the episode, I think. But anyway, I'd be happy to interpret that for you later. You have a lot going on in that one.
Well, there was any
was like,
simpler one.
That was like the only time I've ever been in sleep paralysis. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But again, it came from you know the cause and effect now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do wake up again and you're in sleep paralysis, you can, especially if you can lucid dream, then you can ask yourself the question before you get panicked.
Yeah.
That okay, I'm in sleep. Oh, wait, am I going back and forth in this dream? Oh, okay, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm good. Because that's part of it. Then you raise a good point. When you are in the middle of something like this, and you are having an experience where you may not feel good. I mean, that's what lucid dreaming is all about, is redirecting the dream. It's having awareness.
Yes. Oh, is that what that's? Okay. Yeah, I do that.
Right.
I feel like I do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not surprised at that. So, well, because you're a detail person.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a director.
Dude, I don't like how that's working.
Exactly that. Yeah, and that's what lucid dreaming is. It's being the director of the movie. It's being able to say, you know what? Okay, I'm not happy with that. You know what? There shouldn't be a dark figure in the forest.
Get out of there.
I'd rather see Beyonce or Taylor Swift. We're gonna just substitute this one, and
Okay.
It's a matter of understanding that they are your dreams. They're part of your psyche, your spirit. They're coming from you to you.
I have one that's just silly, but it drives me crazy, and it might be quick because we only have a few minutes. But it's reoccurring. Unlike the one I told you, but I don't know if I'm this age, but it's me with my college roommate,
Okay.
and we
Your college roommate's age at the time?
Yeah, we're both like in college,
Okay.
and we went to college in Virginia, and we're in Virginia, and we're like going into our senior year, and we can't find a darn place to live. And we're running around trying to find different housing and like things like that. And it's just this crazy, I have it all the time. And it's just going through all the motions of looking at the different apartments, looking at houses. Should we live there? Should we live? And sometimes in the dream, it varies a little bit. Like I lose her Like I can't find her. Like I'm like, right? Like where are you? And I found us a place to live. And
Right.
It sounds
why?
like our life would.
Well, that's why I kind of, that's why I'm like, it's probably
Your
something
dreams
simple.
bear no interpretation whatsoever.
Okay.
It's just you Xerox your life and then you have it in your dreams.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Why am I 21 again? And I'm
because
in
this originated back.
Oh, okay.
You started this pattern probably when you were in college.
I probably started when I was 2.
Well, there's that. Yeah. I mean, technically, your personality forms between 0 and 5. So
Well, right.
it definitely goes further back. Something in college probably shifted. But the point is that
Okay.
college is a good scenario for this dream.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is, I don't have a place. Well, we're sitting
Right.
taping or filming the podcast in a different location than where we did the TV.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, that's in a different location than where.
Well, I'm finding a
Any
place.
of
It's not
the
that I,
creations.
yeah, I always find a place in the dream. I do. I come up
Exactly.
with like some
And think
solution.
of all
Yeah.
the different places you've done wellness gala events. Think of all the different locations that you've had to scout out.
Okay.
And
It drives me crazy though. I told my friend the other day, I'm like, I have this dream about us all the time. And she's like, huh, I don't,
Does she have any insight into it?
I know she didn't say anything. She just like laughed and thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And I like, and I'm like, oh.
I was waiting for her to say something like, "Oh, you were like that in school," but
No, and then sometimes, I mean, it gets just variations. Like, again, I'm 21, but then all of a sudden, like, oh, there's my kids that are
Right. Oh,
in
yeah.
their 20s now,
Physical
and they'll
laws don't
pop
apply.
in, things like that.
technically that would mean Matt's older than you in the dream.
Right, exactly. And Andrew's older than Matt, so yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So that's classic me. All right, but that's all right. Well, thanks for interpreting that because it drives me crazy. How do I get rid of it? How's that?
Stop being so crazy.
Well, okay.
Good luck.
All right, I guess I'm gonna just keep having that dream. We check back with me
Well,
in
I
10
mean, you're
years.
still having the other one.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
So
Not as
again,
much.
a recurring dream happens because there's a message in the dream. You either get it or you don't. If you get the message and it's something that serves you,
Right.
you'll keep having the dream. If it's
Right.
something that you, once you have the message,
Slow down,
and you
yes.
realize the universe has been saying, wait, I had to tell you something. Then you get the message and the universe goes, okay, go on your way. Now you don't need the dream anymore. Then it either goes away or it morphs into something else.
Right.
But,
Or I get a 50,000
Like
other
your
ways.
dream,
Yeah.
it evolved over.
Right.
But it left me with the feeling that I was always going to be okay.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's a good.
Same as her dream.
Well, mine
there was
too. I
always an
always have the angels. They
Yeah.
always point me out.
Same kind of thing. Well, and this is again, that's a survival mechanism. You have this built into the dream where it's like, if I'm going to have this dream where I'm being chased,
Right.
let me have a happy ending.
Right. Right.
We're trained by
I know,
movies
that's
and TV
right,
shows.
I know.
We want happy endings, right? So
Right.
if we can do that in our dream state, that's a good day.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and
let's
if you
leave
can't
it
do
on
that, if there's some reason you're having trouble with that in your dream state, that's when you want to bring in lucid dream. And lucid dream, people say to me, how do I lucid dream? How do you not? It's your dream state. It's your body.
Right. Okay.
Why are you not aware of what you're capable of?
Yeah.
You want to lucid
Well, that's
dream?
another whole thing.
Make a decision that you can.
Right.
Okay. If you say, I don't know if I can lucid dream, change the thought to I lucid dream easily.
I didn't even know that's what it was called.
Well, you know what though? I mean, that was great. Thank you.
I love that.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Stop believing that somehow it's out of your control.
Right.
Understand it's not about control. We live in a random universe. Let control go. Control has nothing to do with it. Do you want to be in harmony? Then get in line with the universe. Get in line with the conversation.
Universe.
Acknowledge the conversation.
Yeah.
Look at nature. Look at the software of nature. Get back into, hike. Go to the beach. Go to a waterfall.
Right.
Get in touch with these energies. You're so detached from it. I guarantee. I know you are, but I guarantee.
Are you kidding?
No,
I'm in the
because of
water, I'm in the
work that
pool.
you do.
Yes, I know, but I am also.
The pool is not the same. That's water, yes,
Ocean.
but go someplace
Yeah.
where the water is naturally occurring,
Yeah.
where there are negative ions coming off the water like a waterfall, that you can just absorb the electricity and it positively recharges.
But you've been in my backyard. I have the whole forest.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go.
Right.
Then walk in that every day.
Yeah.
Because that's what calms that down. That's what, that allows
Ron, I get this. Instead of eating.
Yeah.
No.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what helps
In my
you-
dress and boots.
That's what helps you to thrive.
No, you're right.
It's like watering a plant. If you don't do
Yes.
that, then you get out of touch with how nature works. Nature is very slow.
Uh-huh.
It is very patient. It is, unless it's disrupting something, like the hurricanes recently.
Yeah.
That that new growth is slow.
Right.
Okay, so understand wherever you are, you're exactly where you need to be. You are the seed of where you're going to be.
All right,
And then
excellent.
water it, make sure it's in good soil, get plenty of sunlight, and then watch how everything else, I've said this before, there's not a flower on the planet that's thinking it's Thursday and I've only grown this tall. Okay, we create stress in a way that is artificial that nature doesn't do. And if we instead follow what nature does and just, a plant just adds a few more cells every day until it becomes what it's always meant to be. We do the same thing, our lives will function just.
All right. Well, thank you, Jefferson. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, and thanks for being on with us today. It was great. Yeah. All right. And we'll see you next time.
Sounds great.